CBS News Miami's Lauren Pastrana is live in Washington tonight with more on Donald Trump's historic return to power. Lauren.
Jim, as you well know, all inaugurations are historic for one reason or another, but this one will certainly go down in the history books and be remembered for how this frigid weather has really forced a big change in plans for how things operate on Inauguration Day here in the nation's capital. For starters, as you mentioned, he took the oath of office inside of the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, cramped quarters for the amount of people who were in there, so certainly some body heat. I know one of the representatives from South Florida we spoke to was glad that it was actually indoors so she could actually escape from the cold. The other big change was no parade in the traditional sense, although we did see marching bands and color guard troops from all across the country parading in front of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and their gathered families inside an arena here in Washington, D.C. That is where Trump went to greet his supporters who waited for hours all day just to get a glimpse of him. And even though the weather changed the certain plans here for this Inauguration Day, the presidential transfer of power must go on.
An adoring crowd waiting hours for this moment, a chance to hear from the 47th President of the United States. And for their patience, he treated them to a signing of a slew of executive orders.
So we're going to sign executive orders. First, I'll revoke nearly 80 destructive and radical executive actions of the previous administration, one of the worst administrations in history.
His criticism of the former administration didn't stop there.
Did you know that Biden, while I was making my speech, pardoned his whole family? The brother, the whole deal was pardoned. Can you imagine that? While I was making my speech.
That speech, his inaugural address, happening just hours earlier in a crowded U.S. Capitol Rotunda after he took the oath of office.
We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
For many, his message was hopeful, a stark contrast to 2017 when he referenced American carnage. Today, he said we are in the golden age of America.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world.
Then he ticked off what he plans to tackle as president. Issues like immigration, inflation, tariffs, gender identity, and energy.
Today, I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis-McCormick was in the rotunda during the ceremony. Even though we're just a few blocks apart, we spoke via Zoom because getting around the city is so tough.
I am cautiously optimistic. I felt like today he actually gave a speech that showed that he's grown and learned a lot in the process. And I'm hoping that we can come together and actually come in the middle and stop being so marginalized and polarized.
Congressman Carlos Jimenez says the speech felt like a return to common sense.
He's going to close the border. He's going to secure the border. And he also labeled the Mexican drug cartels as terrorists, something that we should have done a long time ago. Those organizations have been killing tens of thousands of Americans every single year, and it's time that we fight back.
After the ceremony, Biden left the White House with President Trump there to see him off. In lieu of the traditional inaugural parade, Trump supporters gathered at the Capital One Arena to celebrate with the new commander-in-chief. These women traveled to D.C. from Miami Beach, they say, to personally express their gratitude to the new president.
He loves America, and he's doing everything for us.
We're going to thank him for his sacrifice, and we're happy that he's here, and we are blessed to be able to be in the best country in the entire world.